There are people who don't need to talk much, raise their voice, or try to prove how capable they are, yet the moment they speak, others naturally listen. On the other hand, many people lose value the more they talk, not because they lack ability, but because they unconsciously use language that diminishes themselves, dilutes their message, and hands over the power of judgment to others. You may have been there before. Every time you give feedback, you start with an apology. Every time you say no, you feel guilty. Every time you share an opinion, you weaken it with phrases like, "I might be wrong, this could be a stupid idea," or "I'm just saying." The problem is, people will treat you exactly the way you teach them to treat you. In this video, we'll go straight into 5 phrases you should absolutely stop using if you want to communicate more sharply, earn more respect, and carry real weight in every conversation. Watch until the end, then pick one phrase you'll eliminate from your vocabulary starting today. Habit 1. Never say sorry for bothering you. This is one of the most common phrases that quietly lowers your position without you even realizing it. When you say sorry for bothering you, the underlying message isn't just politeness. It also implies my presence is a burden, my request isn't important, and your time is more valuable than mine. It may seem small, but repeated over time, it trains you to enter every conversation from a lower position. The truth is, in mature communication, you don't need to apologize just for existing, asking a question, making a request, or seeking clarification. If you truly interrupt at the wrong time, make a mistake, or cause inconvenience, then yes, apologize. But if you're simply engaging in a normal exchange, replace that phrase with more grounded language. For example, don't say "Sorry for bothering you, I just wanted to ask something." Say, "Can I take 2 minutes to quickly run this by you?" Don't say "Sorry for texting late." Say, "When you have a moment, could you help me with this?" See the difference? One shrinks you. The other respects the other person while still holding your own value. Right now, pause and open your notes. Write down 3 alternatives to "sorry for bothering you." From today on, stop using the old phrase. The core idea here is politeness. Doesn't mean diminishing yourself. People with presence don't apologize for existing. They communicate clearly, concisely, and appropriately. Habit 2. Never say "I'm not good at this, but..." This is the kind of phrase that destroys your credibility before your idea is even fully heard. Many people do this out of fear of being judged. They think lowering expectations first is safer. If they sound smart, they'll be seen as humble. If they don't, they already have an excuse. But what's the cost? The listener starts processing your opinion through a filter of doubt. When you begin with "I'm not good at this, but..." you're labeling yourself as incompetent. Before anyone can challenge you, you've already challenged yourself. And from that moment on, your message loses its impact. Understand this: humility is not putting yourself down. Humility is letting your results speak while you communicate clearly, sufficiently, and take responsibility for what you say. For example, don't say "I'm not very familiar with this, but I think this plan has issues." Say "I see 2 risks in this plan: timeline and cost." Don't say "I'm not an expert, but..." Say, "From a practical perspective, I think there's one point we should revisit." You don't need to pretend you know everything. You just need to speak clearly about what you do know. That's what mature confidence looks like. Try applying this rule over the next 24 hours. Every time you're about to say something that downplays yourself, pause for 2 seconds and remove that part entirely. Go straight to the point. Here's a powerful tip before speaking. Don't ask, "Am I good enough to say this?" Ask instead, "Does what I'm about to say add value?" If it does, say it with the voice of someone who takes responsibility, not someone asking for permission to exist. Habit 3. Never say "anything is fine" when you actually have an opinion. It may sound easygoing, but overusing this phrase makes you fade into the background. There are 2 types of people who say anything is fine. One is genuinely flexible. The other avoids conflict, afraid of upsetting others or taking responsibility for their own choices. The problem lies with the second type. When you constantly say "anything is fine," people eventually stop seeing you as someone with direction. They just see you as someone who follows. In relationships, this becomes especially risky. At first, people may find you easygoing, but over time they may see you as lacking depth, lacking clarity, or worse, they get used to making every decision for you. For example, "What should we eat?" "Anything is fine." "Which plan should we choose?" "Either works." "Where should we go this weekend?" "Up to you all." It sounds harmless, but if you stay in this mode, you're handing over control of your life to others. Instead, practice expressing a clear preference while staying respectful. I lean toward option A because it's faster. I prefer this place, it's quieter. This weekend I'd rather rest than go somewhere crowded. You don't need to be rigid. You just need to show up in your own decisions. If you've realized you've used at least 2 of those phrases before, pause for a moment. Pick one you'll stop using from today. That small action is a commitment to yourself. From now on, you won't communicate in a way that weakens your own voice. Remember, this respected people aren't always right, but they are always clear. Clear in their thoughts, clear in their boundaries, clear in their choices. That's the presence of a mature person. In your next conversation, instead of saying anything is fine, offer one specific suggestion. Just one. You'll feel the shift immediately. Habit 4, never say "I was just kidding" to take back what you actually meant. This is a habit many people fall into when they're afraid of how others might react. You make a comment, share an opinion, or express a boundary. But the moment you sense discomfort from the other person, you immediately retreat with "I was just kidding." It sounds safe, but in reality it makes you lose credibility and betray your own true feelings. People will start to wonder, when are you being serious? When are you being genuine? And when are you just saying things for the sake of it? Once your words lose clarity, they also lose weight. For example, you say, "Next time, please don't be late. I waited quite a while." The other person goes quiet. You awkwardly laugh and say, "Oh, I was just kidding." That's it. The signal you've just sent is "My boundaries aren't serious, you don't need to respect them." So what's the solution? Don't use humor to hide what needs to be said clearly. If something matters, say it calmly, without attacking, without apologizing, and without taking it back. A better way. "It's okay this time, but next time please let me know in advance if you'll be late." Or, "Honestly, this affected my plan." You don't need to be aggressive to have boundaries. You just need to be consistent. Today, if something small bothers you, don't brush it off with a nervous laugh. Practice stating it clearly, briefly, and without over-explaining. Strong communicators aren't the ones who sound sharp all the time. They're the ones who don't turn what matters into a joke just to avoid discomfort. Habit 5. Never say, "That's just how I am. I can't change." This is the most dangerous phrase because it doesn't just damage your communication, it shuts down your growth entirely. When you say, "That's just how I am," you turn a habit into an identity, a weakness into who you are, and you reject responsibility for improving yourself. It may sound like honesty, but often it's just a way to avoid change. For example, "I've always had a bad temper. I'm just naturally careless when I talk." I can't say, "No, that's just me." No, that's not a fixed personality. That's a skill you haven't trained yet. And every time you repeat these phrases, you give yourself permission to stay in a weaker version of who you could be. People who are respected aren't perfect. They're the ones who know what they need to improve and take responsibility for it. Instead of saying, "That's just how I am," shift to, "I'm working on improving this. I used to react that way, but I want to handle it better now. I'm not great at this yet, but I'm practicing." The language you use shapes how your mind and others perceive you. One sentence can close the door to growth. Another can open it. Write down one phrase you often use to justify your weaknesses, then rewrite it into something more accountable. That's the first step in upgrading how others see you. And here's the most important takeaway from this entire video. People who earn respect rarely try to appear powerful. They simply eliminate the ways they leak their own value. You don't need to speak more. You just need to stop speaking in ways that weaken you. If you look back at this entire video, you'll notice that the common thread across all 5 never say phrases isn't the words themselves. It's the mindset behind them. "Sorry for bothering you. I'm not good at this, but anything is fine. I was just kidding. That's just how I am. I can't change." All of these come from the same underlying fear. Fear of being judged, rejected, confronted, or not being accepted. And because of that fear, we use language to shrink ourselves first, as if putting ourselves down will protect us from being hurt by others. But that's not how the world works. People don't respect you because you're easy on yourself. They respect you when they can feel that you value your own words, that you know what needs to be said clearly, and that you take responsibility for your presence in every conversation. That's the mindset you should take away from this video. Respect doesn't come from speaking more. It comes from no longer saying things that weaken you. You don't need to become cold, overly sharp, or sound like you're arguing all the time. What you need is a more mature way of communicating, fewer unnecessary apologies, less self-dismissal, less vagueness, less backing down from your own views, and fewer excuses disguised as personality. Now do something specific, don't just watch and move on. Pick one of the 5 phrases you use most. Write it down. Cross it out. Right next to it, write the replacement you'll start using from today. That's how you turn this video into real change, not just a moment of motivation. And if you're serious about upgrading your communication presence, comment "I'm dropping phrase number" as a commitment to yourself. Then subscribe, because in the next video, we'll go deeper into a powerful topic. 7 short but impactful responses that help you say less while making people listen more. If you saw yourself in this video today, don't feel embarrassed. That's not a weakness, it's a sign that you're ready to grow in how you use your words. And sometimes all it takes is removing one wrong sentence for the way the world responds to you to start changing.